Hello there, welcome to Tucking Cash. I hope you are doing well. So today we are going to look at starting hands again. So this is the exercise where we are going to look at a few starting hands and discuss what birds to keep and how do we strategize around the first round, so mostly the early game. So looking at this hand, the birds that jump out to me is always the birds with tugging power. So again, each tug card's worth of points at the end of the game, and brown power, like tug one card from your hand and draw one, so that allows you to cycle some of the bad card from your hand for potentially better card. So birds like house finch is pretty strong, especially if you can get it down in the early game. And then the same thing for ruff as well. So with the round end power, you can tug up to 3 cards from your hand and draw 1 card for each card to tug. Again, it's very good if you draw a bunch of bad cards and at the end of the round you can tug and cycle them for other cards. Birds like the bluebird probably not great to keep from starting hand. Doesn't give you any brown power, and it only lives in the grassland. And the Eurasian jay, probably one of the worst forest bird from the European expansion. It's so expensive, and the power is just not great. The greater roadrunner, again, not the card that you usually keep because of the 3 food and grassland, but if you're gonna have a good food sources or you have the right bonus card, then maybe. But for now, I'm definitely looking at the house finch and the ruff, and bonus card, parent manager, wildlife gardener. Kind of leaning towards wildlife gardener for the house finch. And then I guess another important things to look at is the tray as well. And looks like, well, we have a pretty strong bird in the tray, the white stork. It costs 3 food, but for the brown power, you can refresh the bird tray and pick up 1 new card. So basically, this bird is so strong in the grassland because if you play it in the grassland, you can lay eggs and gain card at the same time. So that's definitely a must pick for turn 1. And so the question is, now that we know there's a white stork, do we still keep the ruff and the house finch, or do we just keep house finch? Because if you keep house finch and ruff, you only get 3 food, and that's quite difficult to play all the bird, because if you play the white stork, you're going to spend 3 food already. I think keeping just the house finch could give you a little more flexibility in terms of finding that forest bird that can help you to support running a white stork in the grassland. That's how I'm feeling. Alright, for the second player here, not as great as a starting hand here, but I think that's quite a good option here. So birds that immediately I wouldn't consider birds like merganser, pretty bad brown power, and gannet, 2 food for 5 points and a bad hunting power, not great. But what we have is the black-throated diver. So again, a very good card for drawing cards. So setting up your wetland for good card draw is pretty important in early game. And then the hawfinch, again, not bad. It is not great, but still, 2 food you play in the forest and it allows you to gain extra food. I think given the hand, that's probably the solid pick here. And bonus card, as always, the one that gives you 2 points per bird is almost all the time the better bonus card here. Yeah, this might not be the strongest start, so it's very annoying when you have birds that cost the same food. So you have to, for example, here pick up a grain to play the hawfinch, and it's pretty annoying that there's no fish in the feeder, so you can't really pick up a fish to play the diver. So here I'm thinking if I can pick up an extra card and then use that card to discard and help me to reroll the feeder, that might help me to get the fish that I need to play the diver. So that might be the plan here. And if I were going second here, I know for sure that my opponent is going to pick up the white stork. So hopefully that might review some good card. Almost guaranteed picking up white stork here. Voucher. It's not the worst. I think the voucher could be a good filler bird, especially in the forest, to cover up the second space, so you can get better food gaining action. But I certainly wouldn't pick it up right away because it is a 1-point bird. So I'll probably wait until I set up my wetland before I draw any birds. So I have to pick up a seed here. Alright, but in this case, actually, if I'm playing housefinch and white stork, I do not mind picking up the voucher here. Because I do need some kind of forest bird to help me to gain food so that I can play more bird. The thing about white stork is that once you committed 3 food, you only have 2 spots for eggs. You lay once, it's fill up, and if you do not find any forest bird, then you're kind of stuck. So I guess I don't mind picking up the voucher here and going for the plants here. Play the hawfinch. I guess I still play the white stork here to see what card I can draw. Probably going with the seed here because I would save the cherry for housefinch and seed is easier to gain here. And here's where keeping an extra card is handy if you need to re-roll the feeder. So I can discard the strike and hope that I find a fish. And there you go. Got the fish that I needed. And it's quite nice. After I play the diver, I will still have 2 extra food left. So that's a pretty good tempo. So going to refresh the tray and see what I can find. Alright, not great. The bald eagle is tempting for big points, but given, you know, I'm anticipating I will only have voucher in the forest, so it's probably going to be pretty hard for me to gain enough food to play the eagle. And then the blackbird, it's great power typically in the wetland, so you can tug card that you don't want to play and gain an egg. But in this case, with the white stork, I'm not going to use the wetland to gain cards, so I think Bell's Video is the way to go here. Alright, let's see. So I'm gonna play the diver here. And next, I guess I would play the voucher game food so that I can play the housefinch. And then in this case, again, always a good idea to lay eggs before you draw a card. And the diver is kind of nice, so again, you get to discard all the cards in the tray and refill and get a new one, so you get a better chance of digging for better cards. Alright. I guess honestly, the kingfisher can be kind of nice here. Now that I'm looking at this, you know, if you look at the end of round goals, they're all pretty nest type specific, and it has all the it's eggs heavy as well, at least for the first three. So having star nests can be quite valuable. The awkward thing is always, with the white stork, you will refresh the tray before you pick up any birds, so you can't really pick up the kingfisher unless you use the wetland, which again kind of defeat the purpose of white stork, and it's kind of inefficient. So I guess that's something to consider. Like, would you want to pick up the kingfisher, or you just let your opponent have it here? I think I'm kind of inclined not to take the kingfisher. Just because I don't want to sacrifice the tempo of spending one turn to pick up a bird. And then here, Mute Swan. So Mute Swan is an interesting bird here. So it allows you to massively tuck cards. Not massive, I guess you can tuck up to 3 cards from your hand for up to 3 birds in the wetland and then draw 1. So that's a really good bird to build up a wetland engine, or what you usually hear, a tucking engine. So definitely worth keeping. And if you have Mute Swan, now the blackbird looks like a pretty good option as well for wetland setup, because you're looking at when you tug a card and gain an egg, that's 2 points, and then with Mute Swan, you can tug up to 3 cards, so that's potentially a 5 points combo here. And this worked out really well, I would say, because now you have the blue jay that you can play in the forest to help you gain food to set up this bird, and I have exactly the food that I need to play the blue jay. So this really come together very nicely. And yeah, I'm kind of even more excited about the second hand here, with the possibility of running a wetland engine here. And of course, this is still pretty good, I would say. For this grassland, you are making 4 points already. Thinking keeping the Bell's Zero here again for the end of round go. So I might skip a tuck here. And oh, look at this, Phoebe. That's also quite good. Yeah, I think the only thing is, if I pick up the Phoebe, I'm gonna leave the Alduin's Go for my opponent here, or I guess for the second player here. And again, that's another great bird to set up a wetland engine, because the Alduin goes, you get extra card, and then you get 1 point for tugging. But in this case, the Phoebe is definitely better option here, because you have a grassland setup that allows you to gain eggs, gain cards, you have a tugging bird that gain points, and then you have Phoebe that allows you to gain food. So yeah, kind of want to play it for a little bit longer here. Looks like we have a potentially very good setup here. But wait a second. Again, in this case, you want to lay eggs to win the end of round goals, but the Alduin's Go is just so tempting, because if you have the Alduin's Go set up, then you build up 1 more point for your engine. I think losing the end of round go here is worth it to pick up the Alduin's Go. So let's say nothing, especially maybe the cowbirds, so that you can gain some eggs. If you're running a wetland engine, the cowbird if your opponent is running a strong grassland, you can gain free eggs, so that's quite good. Alright, nothing in round 2 tray really jump out. So now this is all about getting the food to set this up. And this worked out quite well because this is a very strong forest. So for example, I can gain food here and then reroll. Still gain a seed that I can use. And then, wow, that's unfortunate for the house finch that there was no reroll for grain there. And then in this case, I guess you gain a grub so they can start laying down the Phoebe. So you still have to gain food one more time. For example, to gain the fish and food to play the other bird. And the feeder is quite nice right now. Wow, that was pretty unfortunate reroll there. Now I miss one seed, but good thing with the hawfinch you get another seed. So that works out quite well. Alright, Phoebe here. I guess I want to play until all the wetland is set up. Alright, so you do have the lay eggs here. Or you can play the cowbird knowing that your opponent is going to activate their grassland. So playing the cowbird here is probably smart. And right, gain food. Still going to keep the Vireo because of the star nest, and you can use the grub from Phoebe to play. Wow, look at this. Another great bird for wetland tugging. In this case, I guess you take the trumpeter swan because of the big points. Alright. Yep. Yeah, again, I think you can be greedy here and maybe pick up the tree swallow. I think that might be worth it as well. Again, the tree swallow is going to be another point for the wetland. This is getting very greedy. But once it's set up, it's going to be quite strong. Again, going to keep abusing this Phoebe to gain food. Yeah, that the trumpeter swan is nice with the big points, but it's quite hard to get grain if I don't have a strong force. So I don't mind tugging some of the big point birds. And look, now you find the raven. So that's gonna help to play a lot of the birds here. And the second hint here is still quite good. You're getting free food to help you to set up your wetland, and you're getting eggs to play the bird. You don't even have to lay eggs. So I guess you definitely pick up a rodent here so they can get your raven down. And then I guess here you don't need a grain to play the mute swan. So I guess it's kind of fine to gain food one more time. Or do you want to play the tree swallow so that you can gain, so they can win the end of round here, I think. And it is good to lay eggs so that you have enough eggs to play the rest of your wetland engine anyway. So raven down. And here, so again, trying to think, probably good to lay eggs so that You need the eggs to play more birds, and it can help you for the end of round goal here as well. So, oh, I guess like laying eggs now also help with the next end of round goal, so you don't have to lay eggs again. So I'm thinking maybe discard a food. Discard a food for the extra eggs here. And then here, again, this is the typical great grassland or overpowered grassland that you can set up. You gain eggs, you use eggs to exchange for food using the raven, and then Phoebe give you more food, House Finch, Tug give you points, and then you have White Stork that, you know, help you to gain cards. So pretty strong. I guess to help trying to get the birds down, maybe get a rodent grub and then use the Phoebe grub and skip, because these are big point birds you want to play. And ooh, definitely take the goldfinch here, knowing that your opponent is going to set up a tugging engine. Yeah, that's pretty much no-brainer. So when your opponent tug, you can tug as well and gain a point. So basically neutralize one of their tugging. Happy to take all the free eggs here. Wow, this game is really shaping up. It's hard for me to stop here. Another raven here. I don't think I'm gonna need the raven. But I do want to lay eggs and get the goldfinch down as soon as possible. And the great thing about a goldfinch is there's a lot of egg space. Kind of help with my problem here with the egg space. So, okay. Don't care, just start spamming food. Don't want to take any of this card. Nothing great really. Maybe Chaffinch. Okay. Now you get grub, you get... So now it's to lay down some of this bird. But I do need to gain food. I need a grain to play the mute swan. I need to take fish since I'm likely to gain more grub. Grain. Alright. Yeah, the wetland is strong, but now I realize the setup is pretty slow. Now we're entering late round 3 and it's still not fully set up. So what I'm going to do, probably should force down the goldfinch. Even though I just noticed, for example, my opponent pick up food, looks like they're getting ready to play another bird in the wetland before they start running it. So maybe I still have time. So, but yeah, I think I still need to force it down. If I play another bird, then there will be 2 turns before I can play the goldfinch. So I don't think it's a big deal to force down the goldfinch here. Alright, so now you play the mute swan. Oh, I guess I also forgot I have the bird counter, so each of these birds are worth extra 2 points, so that's quite strong. And probably spend the grub here. Alright. Now, yep. Get the food for the birds I want to play. Chaffinch can be tucked. Quill, probably not. Too low of a points for this late into the game. Greylag goose can be quite nice, big points, and it actually counts for the last end of round goal, so birds with no eggs. So if you're counting birds, then this 2 power counts, so I think that's a good pickup. Alright, another eggs. So now, yeah, I think the altering goals might be a little bit greedy, because it's only 1 point. But just playing it for fun here. Yeah, I'm wondering if the altering goals was a bit greedy. I think between the tree swallow and altering goals, it really slowed down my setup here. So maybe I should have left one of those in the tray. Just playing Bellsville here to make sure if in case my opponent try to contest for the end of round goal, I have the Bellsville. So also it's good to know what bonus card you have, so you can start planning for it. It dodges pretty strong. Almost one of the best bonus card in the game. You're guaranteed 2 points, and now I have 4 points. And I think I can at least gain 6 points when I play another brown power in the forest. So here is finally set up, entering into late round 3. Not sure if it's worth it. Maybe should have kept it at 4 birds. This might be a little bit too greedy. Took quite a few turns to set up this foley, but once it's set up, let's see how many points we are making. So we have the altering goals for 1 point, and then the mute swan. Maybe keep the bonus card. The mute swan is 3 points, so that's 4 points. And tree swallow is another point. And then blackbird is 2 points. So overall, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points engine. But set up a little bit late. And Goldfinch cancel one of the points, so 6 point engine. In this case, with the grassland, even though I think it's still stronger here because this grassland here was set up quite early, and with the house finch alone, it was 4 points, and then now you get extra eggs, that's 5 points. Even though you spend 1 egg for food, that's 4 points, and you get food and you get cards, so still very strong. So since I have egg spot, probably continue to lay eggs here and draw for better cards. Trying to get the gray leg goose down at some point. Probably stop with the food here so that my opponent doesn't get to play more birds. Okay, big point birds. Potentially useful. And probably too late for green swallow at this point, even though typically a tug and draw is a good power. Downy woodpecker might be good to help extend extra egg spots if I need to, as I'm slowly filling up all my egg spots. So yeah, so that was 7 points or 6 points, and then run it for about 8 turns, so about 48 points here. Is that good enough to win the game? I guess, like, let's see if we continue to run this. Interesting to find out who will win this game here. Basically, there's not much you can do other than just keep running this engine. Okay. Cuckoo, maybe. Even though the free food stopped coming, so it would be very hard to play more bird. Do I still have spots? I guess. So we'll keep running this. And see if we can find any more birds to play. Trying to staff. If your opponent is running a wetland engine with no food gain and you have a raven, you probably want to staff them for any more birds. So let's see. Gallinule might be nice for big points again. Ooh, look at this. Imperial Eagle, perfect. That's another great bird that can help you to score a lot of points in late game. Alright. There's no birds that I can play right now. I think the cuckoo would be nice knowing that my opponent play a strong grassland, but just don't have the food to play. So we'll just keep running the engine here. And alright, let's see. One of the hope is if you can find a Banali Eagle with this setup, it might still be worth playing because right now the engine is about 6 points. And if you have Banali, that could be like 10 points. So and another problem with this engine is now my Blackbird is full of eggs, so I'll be missing out on some points as well. So I either play a bird to get rid of eggs on the Blackbird, or just forego and play 1 point here. So again, I guess it depends if you feel like gambling. I think the Pipit is not bad. Let's see. Yeah, because if I don't get the eggs here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points, and then Goldfinch, cancel 1 point, that's 5 points. So maybe playing the Pipit and freeing up a 8 spots here, and maybe got a good bonus card could be worth it. So let's see. And yeah, that was not bad. Historian 4 points. So that was a 6-point play minus the eggs. So still worth it. Here I'm looking at definitely want to play the Imperial Eagle at some point, but just thinking of what birds to tug. I think the Great Horned Owl is still worth playing because of Ethologist. I get extra 2 points for brown power. So, and free up some egg space. And then now we can continue to run this and see where this takes us. Alright. All the wetland bird. Yeah. And yep, once again, it's a fill. Still no Banali's Eagle in sight. Alright, now we can lay egg one more time. Oh, I forgot to play the Downy Woodpecker to get more egg space. But it's okay. We're gonna need card to tuck on the Imperial Eagle anyway. And I don't think I need more food. So actually going to skip here. Yep. Yeah. Free egg. Not much you can do here. No food. No food. You can't play more birds. So, you just have to. I guess you exchange an egg for extra card, but really doesn't matter very much here. Tuck. Still get 1 point for that, And yeah. I'm very curious what the score is gonna be and how close it will be. So let's see, we're almost towards the end here. So no more X space, gotta play more bird. Or I can play the gray lag goose first. Because if I play the impure eagle, then I won't have card to tuck on the house finch. If I play the gray lag goose, I have some X space. So here again, not much to do. Look at all this card that I've accumulated. If you have the shift shaft, this would have been perfect. Those shift shaft allow you to tuck up to 5 cards on 5 birds in the wetland. That's perfect for wetland engine that run card deficit. And look at this! In the final turn, in the dramatic turn of event, I got the Banali's Eagle. So that's quite lucky. That's the card that, you know, I've been looking at all game. Now you can make quite a big points compared to running your wetland here. So 2 more turns. Probably play Laix one more time. And then play the eagle in the last turn. See, now I don't miss that one tuck from House Finch. So yeah, I almost didn't miss any egg. That was the one more free eggs from Grassland. I got it. Yeah, so the Banali's here. So the wetland was 5-6 points because of the blackbird. Now with the Banali's, you get 3 tugs, so that's 11 points minus eggs. 10 goldfinch just do 9 points. So that was quite lucky in the very last turn. Second to last turn, I found the Banali's. All right, very last turn, same Imperial Eagles. I guess in a typical game, they more or less cancel out each other because they're only 1 point different. And this worked out really well here, I guess. If I spend this 2, I don't think it mattered for the Francos here. So, alright, let's look at the score. I'm curious who will win this game. I have a feeling the strong Grassland probably will take the win here because it was set up relatively early and there's a lot of big point birds and end of round goals as well, points. The wetland is nice, but it took a little bit longer to set up. And look at this. Still pretty solid score, 120 to 112 points. Overall very good game for both setup. You know, you have the Grassland. I think the Grassland engine also benefited from the fact that the end of round goals are really eggs heavy, so winning three end of round goal is pretty good and build a pretty good lead for the game. And for the wetland engine, again, I think a lot of the points was made up by the bonus card here. Bird counter, you get 8 points, and even historian got 6 points, so that's pretty strong bonus card. And finding that end game Banali's really bring the score ups. And yeah, in the early game with the Hawfinch and Blue Jay, really help with gaining the food to set up all this bird relatively quickly. And the cowbird, the free eggs from the cowbird also help set up the engine, save some turn as well. Yeah, my only question is if if the engine was better, if we stop at, you know, maybe just the tree swallow the goal, like having both I think might be a little bit overkill and delay the engine a little bit, but again, still very good score. And it's a good showcase of how you set up a good grassland or ideal grassland. I mean, you don't typically get card draw or get this perfect combo of birds, but at least it show the potential, how you can run a good grassland and then also a good wetland tugging engine. In any case, that was the game, and I hope you enjoy watching this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one.